Hello everyone, we're going to stream Bughouse World Championship in the Challenger section. This is the semifinals match. We have ChristopherEdler and 918 Evo versus jakbooks and Ilikebughousee. This is the first game of the match. They are playing first to 15. So this is a pretty good threat from ChristopherEdler, hard to defend. But jakbooks gets mate on his board. So our score is 1-0, favoring jakbooks and Ilikebughousee. ChristopherEdler has a question mark in the chat. I'm wondering why his partner, I guess, either walked into mate or moved at all. Oh, should have waited for the knight to win the queen before. Ilikebughousee missed out on a free queen. 918 Evo is attacking. By the way, there's another match going on, not Bughouse World Championship, but with 12-teen and I think it's 12-teen and Opera versus GSVC and Larso. The 12-teen playing the current champions. I like 918 Evo's attack here. Potentially sack. I might push the pawn to try to reveal the bishop. Could also knight check. A few possibilities here. He is slightly down on time. I think pushing the pawn is best. So maybe you pick up a free piece. Maybe you reveal an attack. He's found that idea. Now bishop check can be quite strong. Maybe pawn check. Okay, he's taken this first. I think pawn check and then knight check if bishop takes. But he could also get some other possibilities. Okay, pawn check should be quite crushing. Can take the rook. And he's just going to continue attacking. Looking pretty bad for jakbooks. ChristopherEdler on the defense on his board. This is a piece factory. Unfortunately, the king can come here. Maybe pawn at g7 to try to get rid of the rook. Well, okay, back rank mate from Ilikebughousee. Our score is 2-0. Jakbooks was on the ropes there. So 2-0 favor in Ilikebughousee and jakbooks. Brooks, it's first 15. Maybe a sack here. Yeah, knight's coming in. Knight is very good. Knight is forked. Well, knight is probably going to be taken. Knight at e6 wins back the queen. Continues ChristopherEdler's initiative. Does he have any continuations without the queen? Not really. I mean, he could play bishop here, could play rook over to try to defend. Oh, he gets the knight. Now, you don't necessarily take the knight. Well, he should have thrown in knight check first just to keep initiative. But luckily, his opponent does not defend well. So knight check. What? Why are we taking that pawn? Is a pawn mate for his partner? No. That's kind of a useless move. But it induces his opponent to hang a free piece. That's always nice. Knight in, still good. Finally, we see that move. That's a free pawn. This is dominating for ChristopherEdler. Free rook. He resigned it. Look at all the extra pieces 918 Evo has. Scores 2-1, favoring Ilikebughousee and jakbooks. The first two games could have easily gone the other way, though. I think ChristopherEdler maybe plays the most solid of these four. But the other players, there's an element of randomness in here. Yeah, Darvek, I think you're right about that. Well, I don't know. 918 Evo, I doubt that that's an old account. This 918 Evo has been around since 2016. jakbooks is a very new account. Ilikebughousee is a very new account. Again, if it were up to me, if I were the sole organizer of this tournament, I would not have let either of these players enter because they're clearly new accounts. But I did not get to make the decision on that. So I am worried that these two are old accounts. If you look at the history of Ilikebughousee and jakbooks, they basically only play Bughouse World Championship and basically nothing else. But ChristopherEdler and 918 Evo are both legit. Oh, you think that he's buying his teleprompter? Maybe. You might be right about that. Yeah, I have 918 Evo blocked, I think. Let me see. I have him blocked. Yeah. But that's, I think, not so much because it's an alt account as I partnered him at some point and he did something terrible. Like, I think he just, like, moved his F-pawn or he resigned in a 1 position or something like that. So they're all begging for pieces. Something needs to land on G3. Queen in. Maybe queen takes G5. We sax for the rook. That's an odd move. Okay, well, his partner picks up a queen. Christopher was partnered to Biden's teleprompter earlier. Okay, that would mean that, like, he knows that he's using a dupe account. Yeah, I'm just not very happy with the way the under 2000 section was organized. Starbucks says, Ilikebughousee seems much better than 1700. Yeah, I agree. I think it really destroys the integrity of the tournament when people are allowed to play with alt accounts. And they're allowed to play with alt accounts because there was no investigation made at the start of the tournament, which is just crazy, in my opinion. Rook over seems good. Discovered double check. Queen can come in. That's pretty good too. Yeah, even better move found by ChristopherEdler. Okay, our current score is 2-2. We're all tied up. But yeah, the whole point of the challenger section was supposed to be for people who aren't 2600 to have a chance of having some fun games and, you know, potentially getting a victory here. But what has ended up happening is it's just been a magnet for alternate accounts from people trying to scam the money. And unfortunately, I'm relatively alone in the tournament who even thinks we should have an under 2000 section. Most of the other organizers think we should eliminate it and only have the open section, which tends to be a common refrain from higher rated players. Higher rated players are just, oh, give all the money to the top rated players. Don't let the lower rated players have any chance to win money at all. And I've been arguing against that for years because it really destroys participation. It limits participation to only maybe 10 teams who think they have a chance, and the rest of the teams, just why bother? That's why in the US we have most of the open tournaments have sections, and the sections mean there's going to be a lot of participation. It's not just all the money goes to the top GM. So it's a lot more fun to play in the US than in Europe, where they don't have these big open tournaments. But it's hard for me to continue making this argument when we have so many alt accounts who are basically cheating the system. jakbooks has made an attack. So our score is now 3-2, favoring Ilikebughousee and jakbooks. Yeah, whenever you see Bughouse in the name of an account, it's generally an old account, especially if it was just recently created. Knight 18 Evo, potentially picking up some material. Going against this knight. Knight takes knight. Ooh, not the way to do that. Well, bishop bet looks good. If rook takes, you take the knight first before you take the rook. He took that in the wrong order because he could have queened the pawn. He still has a great attack though. Pawn at b7 is pretty crushing. Jack Brooks asking for material. Rook in. You can take the knight. You can promote. I like promoting to a queen. Some people would have promoted to a knight to continue the attack, but there's no reason. You can let go of check and you still have a crushing position. Yeah, you can shed that queen. Oh, actually, maybe he can't. Okay, this is a good defense from ChristopherEdler. He's getting attacked a lot. Now you got to watch out for a smothered mate here. If ChristopherEdler can defend, then they're going to be okay. Maybe a new queen in. ChristopherEdler picking up a lot of material. Holy smokes, that's his king? I was looking at the left for it. How did the king get out here? You guys were watching film. How did the king get out here? That's crazy. This king went on a long run. All right, we're all tied up 3-3. ChristopherEdler looking to get in on f7. See whether there's a castle here. Pawn check for sure. I think you still go knight out or new knight in. Some knight should land on g5. Okay, he's coming in g7 instead. That means pawns are good for him. You could rook check and win the queen, or you can take the knight. And then continue coming in. Rook check wins the queen, but a pawn check wins the knight, continues the attack. ChristopherEdler says, be safe. Yeah, ChristopherEdler has a crushing attack. His king is completely safe. So, telling his partner, just be safe. I don't like this move. The bishop in wasn't good. I should have waited for a pawn. They've resigned it. So score now 4-3, favoring the ChristopherEdler team. So Ilikebughousee has given up a pawn. Ooh, another knight is good, or a pawn. I mean, another knight would be best. There's a knight. That is not the move I expected, but okay. So Ilikebughousee, with this bishop move, has managed to make himself much safer than before. ChristopherEdler's attack has pretty much disappeared. Oh, we're not taking that pawn? Really? Okay. So Ilikebughousee, I guess, is just playing defensively for now. Gonna let his partner do the attacking. I guess we defend this. No, he's gonna hang a pawn. That's a good pawn to take too, because we have threats. Gotta take that one. Another option is rook takes pawn, but I like bishop takes bishop a little better. Oh, now you can take and take the rook. So that was a clever tactic. Rook over might be good eventually. ChristopherEdler's team wins. Looks like 918 Evo had Peace Factory in the 7th and 8th ranks. Our score 5-3, favoring ChristopherEdler at 918 Evo. Pawn is quite good for ChristopherEdler. He's just putting the knight in. Seems reasonable. Gave up the queen, but he has mate with pawn plus knight. Pawn check, then new knight in. Knight mates. Ilikebughousee says no knight. Oh, nice mate from jakbooks. Very nice technique. We're now 5-4, favoring ChristopherEdler. ChristopherEdler says, come on. Yeah, he is not happy when he loses. Nine Evo attacking on the light squares. Ilikebughousee attacking on the dark squares. So knight would win the queen. I don't like this queen move. Partner could have taken knight immediately and should have. Now a rook mates for Ilikebughousee. Don't see any immediate rooks. Ilikebughousee is asking for a rook to mate. They're up 3 seconds. I think 918 Evo should be able to hold a rook. I like what 918, sorry, I like what Ilikebughousee is doing, continuing the attack. ChristopherEdler wants trades. I think you can take the pawn. Bishop check. Looks good. Knight mates. Knight check, pawn check. Is this a real queen? I think it is. Now a double mate threat with a knight and a rook. Hard to defend both. Oh, there's mate threat now. Well, actually this queen defends maybe. He wants to put a rook in. Actually, if he doesn't give a queen, I think Ilikebughousee is safe. So Jack Brooks just needs to hold a queen, and I think a rook is fine. So rook at c1, queen takes, pawn takes. Of course, if the rook takes, there's a smothered mate. If king takes, then do you have anything? If king takes, I think you just take the rook. And something needs to land on the back rank, but at least your queen is not fallen. I think rook check is the move. Rook. Okay, so now pawn should be mate with knight check. And if knight takes, pawn check, queen takes, bishop takes. Yeah, that's mate. Bishop takes is mate. Wow, he didn't play the mate. Okay. All of a sudden, this has turned around. I mean, it was checkmate in one last move. So that was a throw. Our score is 6-4. Favoring ChristopherEdler and 918 Evo. So ChristopherEdler has a pretty safe king, and he's on the attack. Looks like he wants to open up his rook here. Going after this diagonal. Maybe trade off the queens. Oh, he's not trading off the queens. Okay. Now this might be a thing. I think he's still safe enough. Rook takes, for sure. Rook mates. Now Ilikebughousee looks like he's going to be able to get safe. Well, this might be a threat. Ilikebughousee would like material at this point. Defend this way, I guess. So rook at h1 could be a good defense. Okay, that's reasonable. It guards some of these squares. Throw a knight in there. Not sure what he's waiting for. I guess worried about his partner. So another knight would mate. He just stick a pawn here for now. He'd prefer a bishop, obviously, but without the bishop, pawn here is fine. Okay, another win for the ChristopherEdler team. Our score is now 7-4, favoring ChristopherEdler and 918 Evo. A lot of trades happening. ChristopherEdler only has knights though. Oh, well, now he got a pawn, but he had like 2 knights in hand. Generally, it's better to have a variety of pieces instead of all of the same piece. Ilikebughousee wants a knight. Why does he want a knight? Oh, okay. He has a mate with a knight and pawn. Knight, knight, pawn is mate. ChristopherEdler has defended. So now queen mates him, but not knight knight pawn. Giving up the queen to help defend. Maybe a new knight in to tempo the queen. There's a bunch of places for the knight, but this is best because it defends as well as attacking. That's just free material for 918 Evo. Pawn check. Maybe bishop at a3. It's possible too. This is not a great place for the bishop. He's just going to sack it anyway, I guess. Knight check. This should be mate. Pawn check. Rook in. So our score is now 8-4, favoring ChristopherEdler and 918 Evo. Two bishops would be crushing. Knight takes, I assume. Okay, yeah, this is good too. Interesting. He's going for some material. Take the rook. Whoa, we should definitely have taken the rook. That was not even a question. Taking the rook was much more crushing. Nine 18 Evo on the attack. Diagonals are good for him. So they're attacking on both boards. Yeah, they're going to keep trading for each other. Knight check, I assume. Take the bishop afterwards. I would just take the bishop, unless he gets more material. I mean, knight is quite good, but let's take that. Knight check seems quite crushing. Queen can come here, then pawn mates, or you could just throw a rook in the back. I think they could throw a rook in the back. Rook takes e, knight takes pawn. Way of continuing the attack down time. That is not a good move. Now he's going to have to lose some material. Instead of this bishop check, I think he should have either played knight takes pawn or queen takes bishop. That had to be a mouse slip. We have an FCK in the chat from Ilikebughousee. Not happy with this mouse slip. And that's mate. So if rook takes, queen enters mate. It was already enough. ChristopherEdler says, on a roll. They are on a roll. 9-4. ChristopherEdler did say he wanted to start streaming, but I guess he's not streaming this match. I think he's still figuring out his setup. Nice attack by ChristopherEdler. So we could put a pawn one of these places, pawn at h3. It's reasonable. You could throw a bishop on h3. He's throwing a pawn at... this one I'm not so sure about. Oh, I guess queen could take back. Yeah, that was fine. And there was completely fine. This pawn check just hung a dude, so I think you could take this with either one of the bishops. Don't worry about the queen. Pawn check. Allows you to do things with initiative. That I'm not so sure about. Maybe new knight in? Is that the idea? Can he just retreat though? I don't know. It's looking not as good. You can take this bishop, I think. If knight check, you can always take back this way. This is a throw by ChristopherEdler. I mean, if he gets a bunch of diagonals, he wins, but he sacked a lot of pieces to continue his attack. Now his partner's losing a queen for nothing. Oh no, I guess it's covered. Redler says, need something ASAP. Yeah, that when you sack all your pieces, that's what happens. Like, he had a great attack. He had, like, a win and made an attack if he'd just taken pieces instead of requiring check every move. He's asking for a knight and a queen. That's pretty greedy. I mean, honestly, he just needs a bunch of pawns. That was the worst possible. That's just hung a knight for nothing. He could have retreated the knight, and then his knights, remaining knights, would still defend each other, and he'd be guarding the key squares. Like, he just sacked more material, and now pawns no longer mate. Now he needs, like, a rook to mate, basically. I mean, he's likely going to get the queen anyway, but it's just sloppy play. Knight in mates. Okay, so the trend continues. We have 10-4 favoring ChristopherEdler and 9-18 Evo. Hey, Stuckfish. That's a fork. Just giving up the pawn. That's a fork too. Well, that's defended, I guess. So maybe not so much. Could drop a pawn and promote. He could also have retreated his bishop. Jakbooks is the one attacking this game. His king is fairly safe. That's the free pawn, though. Why didn't he take the free pawn? Kind of weird. ChristopherEdler looks like he's trying to get some initiative. This knight by Vermouth. That isn't really a threat. I think he can just take the knight. I mean, he has to lose his queen, but not a big deal. He's an initiative hog anyway. Yeah, you gotta take that. It's not even a question, so I don't know why he's sitting. Queen doesn't even hurt his partner. Okay, now queen mates. I wonder if you could just take this pawn. But of course, ChristopherEdler always look for checks. Never looks to make threats that are not checks. Now the bishops defend each other, threatening rook in mate. Ooh, that looks quite crushing for Ilikebughousee. So it looks like a forced mate. He could always take some material. Well, not that one. He's got to keep check, but okay. Rook in, maybe? Rook in, then pawn check. Okay, this is reasonable. Rook in is mate. And instead he wants to hang a piece. It would be crazy if he gets out of this. I think knight check is the move. Okay. Wow. Okay. And that's a mate from Jack Brooks. ChristopherEdler saying to his partner, tell me sit, talk. Yeah, communication very necessary this game for sure. Our score now 10-5, favoring ChristopherEdler 918 Evo. Is first to 15. $9.18 Evo. Been trading some pieces here. Ilikebughousee is gonna continue attacking, not worry about this knight. And he wants some trades. He does need to watch out for this rook potentially coming in. This is a great move. You can get rid of the scary pawn, and all of a sudden you're very safe. I like what ChristopherEdler is doing here. Knight is good. A new knight. That's scary. Now he gets to take this knight off. Yeah, he's given... Oh, that's a free rook. Oh, shit. God damn it. Okay. Yeah, so ChristopherEdler kind of hung all of his pieces. And hung his attack. And is probably going to get mated fairly soon. So bishop check is a possibility. Could maybe you could just queen this, then the queen can help defend. Jakbooks is saying pawn takes something, but it's in Russian, so I don't know what it is. Yeah, I think he's fine. I think just take this. Pawn check is actually quite good. Oh, maybe. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, 918 Evo and mate on his board. Our score 11-5, favoring ChristopherEdler and 918 Evo. ChristopherEdler on the attack as usual. That's a mate threat. Can we just take that? Okay, rook over. ChristopherEdler up times to tell his partner to sit. These are a little bit scary. ChristopherEdler wants to get these pieces on the board. You can drop a knight either defensively or offensively. Like knight at e3 would be a defensive move. Offensive move, maybe you tempo the queen somehow, or maybe knight at e6. You could take the knight, then drop a knight at g4, threaten knight at h6. There's possibilities. Also queen over could be a way to save some of these squares, although the knight might sack. Don't like that move. Oh yeah, my move was bad too, because you can just take it. But I think knight at e3 was a little bit better. So 918 Evo can win a queen. Doesn't necessarily mate for his partner though. Oh, take the bishop with check for sure. Maybe just queen takes. Seems pretty safe. It could be followed by this. On check, also possible. Knight takes. But I think it's better just to get safe. 918 Evo up a ton of time though. We're probably waiting for his partner to get safe. Place all these pieces on the board. And place another bishop in. You can probably take this knight. Not that you need to, but take the queen. Bishop guards. He's fine. Just come back. Ooh, that's not a good place to go. Now you have some dark squared attacks. That's mate. We're now 12-5, favoring ChristopherEdler, 918 Evo. Another knight, good for Ilikebughousee. Tap of the queen. He's just going to defend the knight. And tap on the queen a bit, also threatening this move. Knight's still good. So he just takes. I don't like that. Bad pawn to lose. Why didn't he take that? That's kind of weird. I mean, I guess this is safe though. Could be a threat in the future. I like this move. Attacks the queen, cuts off the rook. I think you trade these. Maybe tempo the rook. Could also take this pawn. Jakbooks picking up some material. Partner's going to use that to his advantage. I'd like knight at c8 to try to cut off the rook. Promotion. I like Bughouse is actually fairly safe here. He has a nice attack. All he has to do is put something on c8. Still should put something on c8. Ah, now he's less safe. Pawn would be crushing. Well, that's going to be game over. Not have allowed this file to open up. Our score 12-6, favoring ChristopherEdler, 918 EVO. ChristopherEdler attacking the light squares. Has some dark squared weaknesses, but it should be okay. I think he can even get away with taking that. A little bit scary. I think he should live through that. Just take it. Take it all. That is not best. Now I think we take this twice. Oh, queen comes. Well, what's the time like? Does he have time? Maybe he has to go up here. ChristopherEdler up a ton of time, actually. What? He didn't defend. Yeah, his partner should have stalled until he defended. That was a miscommunication. Our score now 12-7, favoring ChristopherEdler. Gonna tempo that queen. And bring this knight up. Oh, he had a knight. I guess he could have just won the queen. I think he should actually. Maybe jump in, win this queen. You could always take the bishop if you don't see mate, but I think there is mate. Well, yeah. Mate back was mate. We're now 12-8. Favoring Christopher Edler's team. This is not to 25. It's actually to 15. The finals will be to 25 for this section, because they're playing 3 minutes rather than 2 minutes. I think he sacked the queen. Yeah, he wins the queen back here with knight check. In fact, if he got another knight, he could have mated. He probably should have waited for the other knight. Knight was mate before. But still has a pretty good attack. Just take the pawn. Do you want like a queen or rook to mate, I guess? Rook over and make threats. Oh, trying to force the queen. Queen mates. They're down time though. Christopher Edler should know to stall here. Knight 18 Evo needs to defend. He's trying to make a queen mate himself though. Still hasn't defended. He does need to fix it, as his partner points out. And Jack Brooks is up time. He can sit for it. Up about 1 second. Christopher Edler, very emotional. He always fills the chat with some criticisms. He says, man, no, man. Still mates. They're up time. What was even put here? And did he have to take back? Could he have just taken the rook and then mated? I wanted to go back. Like what? This was like a win. This is an immediate win for this team. All right. So our score now 12-9, favoring 918 Evo and Christopher Edler. Ilikebughousee is getting a bit of an attack here. I probably would have attacked this pawn. But this is a pretty decent idea also. So he could take the rook. Knight takes knight maybe. Take and then knight in. Okay, he's attacking this pawn. And he has a nice attack too. And he's completely safe. A few pawns win for Jack Brooks. Jack Brooks can probably mate here. Queen check, take pawn, knight check. Looks good. Queen check, take, knight check, rook in. Always take this one. Christopher Edler getting pretty destroyed here. I don't like this move. You have an existing knight you could have used. That was wasteful. Now he has one less knight to work with. But it turns out he didn't need it. Our score now 12-10. Jack Brooks and Ilikebughousee catching up. Oh, don't we want this free pawn? We have against free pawns. That's a pretty terrible idea. I would take that. Yeah, he has a pretty nice attack here. I would take this. Take this pawn, go after the queen. Now this knight is hanging. Maybe bishop it. Okay. So he wants to trade and then pin. Or pin. Yeah. Take that. Knight in the corner might be good. But I like this. Attacks the queen, defends the pawn at the same time. Very nice. The diagonals are very good, like a bishop. Okay, he wants to fork. Knight there wins the queen. That's a terrible move. Now rook plus knight mates. There's the knight. Now rook is going to mate. There's a mate threat over here also. They're down a ton of time though. 918 Evo needs to stall. No more moving. What? It's... Oh, okay. It was mate. I see. Nice mate. Yeah, I was looking at different checkmates, like rook takes, then pawn check, then promote. But yeah, the knight mate was pretty good. Our score now 13-10, favoring 918 Evo ChristopherEdler. Okay, so now pawn or bishop on c7 is quite good. Jakbooks has a lot of material in hand. And they are slightly up time. Jakbooks could consider sacking, or you could defend. Maybe queen in. Okay. More forcing, I guess. But he needs more material now. Like, knight plus 2 pawns would mate. 918 Evo downtime. Downtime he just loses here. Knight takes bishop is interesting. This is not so interesting. Oh, this should be mate. Like, rook in the corner here somewhere. Okay, he's thinking knight check. And a pawn will mate. There is no pawn though. We go knight takes knight. Knight takes knight, threatening rook in. Finds it. Rook in is a threat. So he could go crazy over here with like knight take. Probably knight takes one of these pawns, queen in, rook in. check a bunch. What is he waiting for? That's mate. Like rook into here is immediate mate. Rook in, queen takes, take, king up. This is pretty crushing. Our score now 14-10. This could be match point. No pawn check. Seems reasonable. Interesting. I would have thought maybe knight at e5, but this allows us that. Oh, he's just going to hang it. Okay. ChristopherEdler's content to take the free material. Knight in first, I think is good. And I think you take the bishop first. Take the bishop first, then if you can get another knight, you can repeat. Also, pawn at h6 could be good. I like this as well. You can take the rook, though. Or you take the pawn. A lot of possibilities. You could take the knight, or you could bring the knight back. Basically, winning material. You could take the knight, or you could move one of your knights here. ChristopherEdler still has a crushing position. Not sure what he's waiting for. Maybe pawn at e4 is another possibility. Now I can put a pawn at f5. You can take that. It's queen in as a threat. Queen up. Bishop up check. Okay, that's reasonable. Still bishop up check. Maybe you take this bishop. Oh, okay. That I do not like. Yeah, now he's kind of throwing. This king might actually be safe on h5. I mean, a knight mates, but is a knight really coming? Oh, wow. And Jack Brooks mated his opponent. Yeah, that was a throw from ChristopherEdler. He had much better attacks. Ilikebughousee asking for a knight. For Edler getting safe. Oh, that was knocked away. Ilikebughousee picks up some free pawns while attacking. And pawn on the 7th, threatening promotion. Pawn would be quite good for 918 Evo. We're sacking the queen for 2 pawns. But he doesn't do it. Pawn's good for Jack Brooks. Or he could defend this at some point. Like bishop would be good to attack and defend at the same time. I think he just sack. Yeah, that maybe not so good. I was just gonna allow him to keep taking stuff. I like this pawn move. That's very creative. If we take, then we can get in. Maybe bishop check just to provide more coverage. After that, you can just slide. Bishop was better on b4, I think. Yeah, this doesn't accomplish anything. Yeah, now you've helped him defend. Take the rook for sure. These guys hate free material. Regards against the fork. ChristopherEdler getting hit pretty hard though. And he doesn't have much of a counterattack. He can try to drop a pawn on the 7th. What else can he do? Maybe bishop to hit the knight. Possibility. Thanks the queen. Oh, knight check just crushed. Completely crushed. Pawn takes. Is crushing. Actually, maybe knight first. Okay. Now, bishop here is good. Also bring your knight in. Rook is worth -1. No, I think he said a rook is worth -3. Queen is worth -1. 918 Evo. Trying to attack a little bit. Oh, that's a queen. ChristopherEdler can use that queen. They're up time. He had to sit for it. He could promote to knight. Or he could just sit for the queen. Okay. Some good continuations there. And that is GG's. Okay, final score is 15-11. Favoring ChristopherEdler and 918 Evo. So congrats to the winners. They will move on to the finals. Let me send you guys to the bracket here. So ChristopherEdler 918 Evo going to be playing in the finals against Tom Rainey and Pearl the Dragon. There's going to be a consolation match to determine 3rd versus 4th place. So jakbooks and Ilikebughousee are going to be playing against Ilikebughousee and I am Frosty to determine 3rd versus 4th place. So it's a fun match to watch. Congrats to the players. We're going to look for someone to raid. Might raid Collegiate Chess League. Let's check the chess category real quick to see if we see some other people stream it. Thank you everyone for joining me. Oh, it looks like Tyler1 is playing some chess again. That's good to see. I think he took like a month or 2 off from his chess arc. Okay. We're just checking to see if anyone's streaming variants. I don't see any variant streaming. Let's check out Collegiate Chess League. Have a good one, everyone. We don't have anything immediately scheduled. I think Thursday night, tentatively, at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, will be the continuation of the constellation match that we covered earlier today of Chicken and Zizon versus Penguin and Wurmpaka. So looking forward to covering that. And we'll see when these guys win a schedule in the challenges section, the finals, and the constellation match. And hopefully I'll be able to cover that as well. Anyway, have a good night, everyone. Bye, guys.